Lesson 1 will be linked in the description. It is creating painted paper using color wheel color theory to create orange, green, and purple paper to use for this collage.
Okay, working on creating part of the pumpkin collage. Here is a template that you can use to cut out the leaves and the pumpkin. Each student can have their own or use it to trace it on something stiffer or print it on cardstock and then have multiple already sitting out. Because if you make them cut this out and then cut it out again, it's going to take longer. So a little prep that you're going to have to do is cutting out these templates beforehand. Okay, now that I have the templates I need, this is going to go on the orange painted paper. There is a stem, and you can have pre-cut brown rectangles already done for the stem, or you can have them trace it. I would already have them pre-cut because it's easier. And then a leaf. I did print two. There are the opposite, flipped reversal of each other, because that way, if you want them different ways, I'm just going to get one out for me because only one need one. Now, here's what you'll have to do first. We only need, there should be 3 colors of painted paper: purple, orange, and green. The purple does not need to be out this day because you're cutting and it's going to take a long time. So this is going to go off the side. All you need these 2. Now, here is a good tip that you need to follow. We don't want to trace it on here, because if we trace it on here and we mess up, we've ruined this whole side. What you're going to do is you're going to take your paper and you're going to flip it over, and where your name is where we trace. Another important thing is we never want to put the paper in the middle and trace it right there, because then we've wasted all this extra paper. You always want to trace it on the corner. So it's very important that you trace it the correct way, or you ruin the paper. Now, with the green paper, this is going to be the leaves or leaf and the grass. So what I'm going to do is I need to rip this in half. So I'm going to take my paper. I'm going to put my finger and thumb here, and I'm going to rip it this way. This is the grass that's going to be going on our purple paper, so it just needs to be ripped. So this piece and this piece are going to go off to the side. Now I have this half sheet of green, which is large enough to make more than one leaf. So I flip it over. Again, I don't want to do it on the painted side. Take my leaf. It's very important that you hold the leaf down. If you don't hold it down, the leaf is going to move everywhere, and then you cannot trace it. So I have my black tool, hold it down, and then you're going to trace it right there, going around those lines onto this paper. So when you move it, you should see a leaf. Now I'm going to take it, and I'm just going to do the same thing, but I'm flip it the other way. Okay, if we're sharing this, you may need to pass it to someone else, and you have your 2 leaves that you're going to then get your scissors and cut out. Now, if you're looking at scissors, there's a circle and an oblong oval. The circle is on top. It should be facing up. That is for your thumb. The oblong one is for your 3 fingers. Please make sure that your scissors are pointing out. You do not want to cut towards your stomach. That's not cutting the correct way. Your scissors should be pointing away from your belly button. You're going to use the hand to hold the other side, and then you want to follow that black line. You do not want to go around it. You got to trace it. Notice my arms are moving. To cut the right way, you've got to move your arms around to get all those corners from the lines that you traced. If you flip it, there's a leaf. So I'm going to do the same thing to this one. Okay, I have my 2 leaves. Now this is trash, so make sure that gets in the trash bucket right there in front of you on your table. You can move your 2 leaves to the side. Now we're going to move to the pumpkin. Again, we don't want to trace it on this side, because if you ruin it, you can't fix it. Flip it over. That's where you see your name. Take your pumpkin. Again, we don't want to do it in the middle. Move it to a corner, so that way we have lots of space if we have to do it again. Take your tool, take your hand, hold the pumpkin down, and take your tool, and you're going to trace on the paper, going around the edge of that template. Again, you may have to lift your arm up, move it around to trace the whole thing on your orange paper. So when you move your pumpkin, you see it. Again, you may need to be sharing this, pass this to someone else. Same thing, I'm going to get my scissors. I'm going to cut right on that line that I drew. There's my pumpkin. Now, you can see there's a lot of extra paper. This is not trash. This is going to be rejected. So this is a lot of paper that we need to keep to the side. So you have your pumpkin and you have your 2 leaves. The last part is the stem. So you should have your pumpkin, your stem, and 1 or 2 leaves, depending on how many you cut out. Now, we are not done with this. We have to make sure that we know whose they are. So you're going to flip it over, all of them back to the white side. And I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to go ahead and write my name on all my pieces, just in case they get separated. I don't want to lose all my pieces. So make sure that you have your name on all your pieces, because this is probably as far as we're going to get done today. And make sure that the templates, pumpkin, the stem, and the leaf is given back to the teacher. Any trash needs to be in the trash can. And then please listen, because these pieces, after you get your name on them, will be collected and put in a bag so they don't get lost. Okay, now we're going to be putting it all together. You should have your purple paper. Make sure it is yours. You need your purple paper to be vertical, which means the long sides are on the side, the top and bottom are short. We have all the pieces. So you should have your ripped piece of green paper. Make sure that you have your pumpkin, your stem, and then your 1 or 2 leaves. You should see that your name is on the back of them. Okay, first we need our green piece of paper. Now notice, the green piece of paper should still have the bottom rectangle, just like the bottom rectangle matches up with your sky. So in a minute, we're going to be gluing this right here to match up. So we have the grass and the sky. You should have some glue sticks. To use a glue stick, if you don't know, take the top, put it on the table flat, turn the knob so the glue peeks out. You want to make sure that you are gluing the back side. For instance, on this paper, it's where the name was. So I'm going to take my glue stick, go around the edge, do a little wiggle in the middle, and then I'm going to flip it over and match those corners up together, corner to corner on the purple paper. Now here's a tip. I always take this, flip it over, and rub. Helps the paper stick together and I'm not messing up anything. Flip it back over and it should be stuck. Next thing, we're gonna be gluing the pumpkin down. So take your pumpkin, again, make sure it's yours, turn it over to the side where your name is, take your glue stick, wiggle around the edge, a little bit in the middle, and then you're gonna flip your pumpkin. It's gonna go in the grass. Again, flip your paper over, give it a rub, flip it back. Next is your stem. Take your glue stick, rub glue on the back. It's going on the top of your pumpkin. If you want to, flip it over, rub. Now, you may have 1 or 2 leaves. It depends. Now, what I do first is I figure out where the leaves are going to go, and then I'll glue them. Okay, so flip them over where the white side is, get my glue, make sure glue is all over them. I'm done with my glue. I can go ahead and turn it down, put the top on. Okay, so I want 1 leaf near this part of the stem, and then this leaf I'm going to put facing the other way. Okay, again, flip it, rub. And then flip it back over. So you should have your grass glued to the purple, then your pumpkin, then your stem, then your leaves. We're done with our glue stick. I'm going to move that. The next thing I'm going to have is, you can either use oil pastels or crayons. A green. It needs to be an orange that is darker than your pumpkin. Orange. And then a purple. So the same thing. We're going to be adding some details to our pumpkin. So you have your finished piece of paper. Again, make sure it is yours. And then we have a green, orange, and purple. We're going to start with the green. The green, we're going to make the veins going down the leaf. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the leaf, draw a line all the way through, and then I'm going to draw V's coming off that. Same thing, from bottom of the leaf to the top of the leaf, a line. Then draw some V's coming off that line. The other thing, around the bottom of the grass, I'm just going to add a few little lines that look like grass. They're just vertical lines at the bottom. Okay, I'm done with my green. Next is your orange. The orange, we're going to create the ridges in our pumpkin. So I'm going to start at the stem, and I'm going to draw a curved line all the way down. Move down to the stem, curved. Go back to the other side of the stem. A curved line, stem, curved line, stem, curved line. Go back to the stem, a curved line. So I've added the ridges within my pumpkin with my orange. Last but not least, we're going to add some little glitters in the sky with our purple. So to do that, it's going to be a plus sign with an X over it. So it's a vertical, horizontal, diagonal, diagonal. Vertical, horizontal, diagonal. I'm going to do a few of those. The last step we want to add. Now, here is something that you can add a detail if you would want to. You can see that this leaf is not touching my stem. If you don't know, we've learned that vines are what attach the pumpkin to the roots, which come off, the leaves come off the vine. So you could take your green, and coming off the stem, you could draw a green line that connects, that kind of comes off from your stem to your leaves. Okay, we have finished our pumpkin collage. So make sure that your 3 crowns or oil pastels are put back. You have your starry night with your purple, your leaves with your green, your orange pumpkin, which we created with our primary colors, red, yellow, blue.